Hello everyone, a warm welcome to all my viewers and subscribers. So we are back with a new Excel series with the aim to learn various formulas, tips and tricks, dashboarding with practical applications using Excel. So Excel has become one of the most important tools across the industries to perform the basic analysis, driving insights from the data and some basic visualizations, right? So without further ado, let's get started. Today we look at the Vlookup function, how to apply a Vlookup and what are its disadvantages. So VLOOKUP stands for vertical lookup, which is used to search for a value in a column in order to return a value from a different column in the same row. What does this mean? Say we want to look up the marks of student 4 in English from this particular table. So what VLOOKUP does, it first searches student 4 in this particular column, which is this row, and then it returns a value from different column in the same row, which means it returns the value of marks obtained in English in the student 4 row column of this data table. We will look more into it when we try to apply the formulas here and try to see how the results come up. So let's start by looking at the VLOOKUP function. If you type V is equals to VLOOKUP on your table, on your desktops and press tab, you get to see the structure of this formula. So it is composed of four components. The lookup value, which is basically the value that it needs to be looked up from the table. And the important point here is that the value has to be in the first column of the table, or the lookup column needs to be towards the left of the table. The second is the table array, which is basically the table from which we are trying to look up values. Then the third is the column index, which is which column do we want the values to be looked up from. And the last is the range lookup, which is the exact or appropriate match. So let's try to apply a VLOOKUP formula trying to fetch the marks of student 4 in English subject. So our lookup value is student 4, correct? Now we go and select the table array and we log this. What's the third? Column index number. So what is the column number for English in this table? This is column 4, right? And then we say that we do a exact match. Does student 4 score 40 in English from the table? Yes, that is correct, right? Now, the second application can be that what if we are looking forward to getting the marks of student 4 across all the subjects? What do we do now? So, what do we do here? It's simple. Say we go back, we apply the same formula. What is it that we change? We change the column name because the lookup value remains the same, the table array remains the same, right? And the maths subject is column 2 in our table. So I change this to 2 and we get marks for maths. How do I get it for science? I copy paste this, I change the column number to 3. Bingo, this gives me the marks for science. The English one is again 4. Then the social studies is similarly 5 and Hindi becomes 6, right? Now, some of you may ask that I don't want to type the column numbers for each of these formulas when I am trying to extract the marks for these students. Is there a way around? Yes, definitely. Let's try to look at that. So, how do we get the column numbers automatically? For that, we use a match function. What is match function? it specifies the lookup value similar to the VLOOKUP. So what is it that we want to look up? We want to look up maths. What is the table array? Now this is important. The table array is basically the headers of these table, correct? We lock this one and we say we need the exact match, correct? Now let's check if we can just copy paste these. Bingo, all of this works. Now let's check what match function is doing in this particular thing. We go here and we press F9 in our system. This gives 3, which is basically the third column in our table. So this works well, right? Now similarly, if we want to extract the data for some other student, say student 12, we just come here, copy paste these values, these cells, and we get the marks for student 12, right? Let's now look up the disadvantages of VLOOKUP. So VLOOKUPs become pretty small or slow, I would say, when the data sets are huge. Second disadvantage is that it provides data in a column, right? And a single value shall exist in the row. So for example, if we have a cell in our table, say let me add here that we have a student 18 as well as I have an entry for student 19 and I have marks for them, say 45 and 34. So VLOOKUP will not be able to give us the correct answers and it would throw us an error in this case. And the most important disadvantage is that it cannot look up values from the left. We saw this in our component section as well, that the value to be looked up should be the first column of the table. Basically, the value to be looked up should be towards the left, towards the extreme left of the table. Now, in case our same table, we just make this student name column to be the fifth column instead of the first. Do you think we can apply VLOOKUP now? Let's find out. We press VLOOKUP, tab, then the table array, then what's the column index number for English? It is 3 and then we say that we need an exact match and we press enter. We get an error, right? This is because student 4 lies towards the right of English, correct? Now, some of you might question that, what if a column Hindi existed towards the right and the rest of the columns existed towards the left? Would we get the right value for Hindi? Let's find out that as well. Let me just copy paste this and change the column index number to 6. It still does not give us the right results. Why? Let me change this formula. This has to be M8, right? Now, this is again because the table array is selected from D5 until I22. So all the columns D to I are selected, and the disadvantage of lookup is that the lookup column, which is basically the student name, should be towards the extreme left of the table selected. So if we want to get the marks for Hindi, then what is the way around? Let's find out. We look up for this value and we select the table array to be just column H and I. And what would be the column index number for Hindi? It would be 2, not 6, because we selected only columns H and I. And we say this. Bingo, we get the right results, right? I hope these concepts were clear to you. Uh, what next do we do if we cannot use VLOOKUP is basically the index match formula, which we look at in our next video. So thank you everyone. Keep watching. Bye bye.